Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi could be releasing an interest-bearing mobile wallet. Mobile transactions are gaining traction among users. Osama Badir is the creator of Google Wallet and a former PayPal executive, now the CEO of Poynt, a smart payment terminal. Osama, it's a treat to have you here at Post 9.
Nice to be here. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's start with the wallets. We've seen almost every company decide that they need to find a way to provide a way for customers to store their money on their device. How can so many companies do it differently?
Well, when it comes to moving money around, that's the anchor of commerce, right? And everybody knows that to be able to bring in this new chapter of mobile commerce, you have to be able to do the wallet thing well. And so there are a lot of guys trying.
Google's trying to figure out a new strategy for the wallet, sort of rejiggering its approach. But Amazon and PayPal also fighting over the same turf here. Where do you see those companies shaking out in that fight?
Well, the advantage right now goes to operating systems for mobile phones. They have the identity. They allow you to log into all the apps as well as the phone itself.
So you're saying Google?
Well, Google and Apple. Right now, the advantage goes to Google and Apple.
And Apple Pay. That was the last time we had you on our show to talk about the advent of Apple Pay. The company's saying last week 700,000 merchants carry it. Of course, that's about half of the locations or about a third of the locations that carry plastic. But is that progress?
It's progress. It's still going to take some time. I think it's still a couple of years away before everywhere accepts Apple Pay and Google Wallet. But it's definitely progress. I think it was about 300,000 locations about a year ago. So there's definitely interest now. Instead of just hype.
So here's the piece I don't get. Loyalty, okay? Yeah. That's still the thing, especially on any transactions bigger than a vending machine, that's going to get me to use any particular payment method. It's why I'm not, tempted to go away from, say, Capital One anytime soon. Is that a piece that Apple and Google need to implement if they want to gain more leverage over, say, the credit card issuers and get me to go with them no matter what card I'm using?
Well, the reality is it is a value add, but you still have to change people's behavior when it comes to paying. And you're not going to change it just for loyalty. You're not going to move them there just for loyalty.
Depends on how big the rewards are, am I?
It's true, but if you think about how credit cards got started, there really wasn't loyalty in the beginning anyway, right? So how did people start using plastic? It was just a more convenient payment method, and the idea of getting access to credit I didn't have. So definitely a value proposition, but it doesn't have to be loyalty. And what Apple has done is allowed you not to have to carry a bunch of cards around.
It was more about, I'm thinking back, Discover paid you back, but Amex was the card you didn't leave without because you could use it anywhere, right?
Yes. And so convenience has always been really high. This is why even in addition to credit, now most debit transactions are being done instead of checks on a card.
If I'm a retailer, what's my biggest resistance to Apple Pay, do you think? What are they saying the most?
It's the biggest retailers especially, they want more control. And they're a little worried that all of these loyalty programs don't necessarily create loyalty to them. They create loyalty to the bank or the card, but they want a little bit more control. They want a little bit more ability to innovate on their own without having to beg others to help them out.
It's not about the spread or the cost?
Well, I think that's a side effect, right? The lack of control includes the inability to negotiate fees.
Some complain that they would have to change their terminals. The terminals are expensive, but by October they have to get new terminals to read chip cards anyway. So is there a sense of, well, while we're at it, let's go ahead and accept this?
There is among the ones that aren't as worried about control. The ones that are, MCX is there for a reason. And I think that is actually one of the best tactics that Apple has taken. They rolled out Apple Pay knowing that the terminals were all about to change, because that's really the hardest part. How do you change 16 million terminals in the U.S.? You can't. And so if you draft off of this change, this EMV, this chip and pin change coming, all of the terminals will have NFC in 3 years anyway.
Speaking of which, Poynt, your company is all about the terminals, but Verifone has huge share in this market, I think above 40%. Why are people going to go with your terminal instead of the big guys?
Well, it's really back to the story of feature phones versus smartphones. We didn't try to create just another terminal. We think while consumers have supercomputers in their pocket and that they're able to do these magical things, this has become my remote control for the world, the merchant has nothing more than a glorified calculator. And all Verifone has done is add another slot for the chip card. What we did is we created a smart terminal, one that's connected, that's multi-purpose. It's a computing device. It'll allow merchants to have apps the same way consumers have, and then the interaction between the merchant phone, the consumer phone, and the merchant device will create rich experiences like Uber.
Speaking of Apple, before we go, the Apple Watch
Yes.
Do you think that's going to be a big innovation in payments?
You know, I think Apple is becoming a luxury brand. So I don't know about, you have it all the time. So will you pay with it? Yes, if they succeed in putting it in a lot of people's hands. But it's a really cool luxury device.
Osama, it's always good to see you. Come back soon.
Same here. Thanks.
Osama
Thanks for having
Badir,
me.
CEO of Poynt.
When we come back, earnings season is not over. Two major tech companies report after the bell tonight. We'll get more on Oracle and Adobe in just a minute.